This program contains crazy material, including offensive language. Listening discretion is advised.
Join the guys for part 2 of a 2-part series with Corey Dissin. We're going to talk about how to bat 1,000 with your social media content, managing your time, and building your business brick by brick. So, sit back and strap on your straitjackets with Big Jim and Brad Storm on a Videos Padded Room Podcast. That's great, man. It is a small world, man. I have to say, that's crazy. Now, you a big Eagles fan or what? I know football's here coming up Thursday.
I like the Eagles. Like I said, even though I grew up in Atlanta, I was all because my family's from Philly. I always like the Philadelphia teams too. I am a diehard Braves fan. I will tell you that.
Okay, yeah. I like the Braves.
For football, if I'm going to pay attention to any pro football game, it's got to be the Eagles.
We were talking about the fight game too. I'd like your thoughts on this too. Mike Tyson, Lloyd Jones Jr. You think this should happen?
Okay. Oh, here's what I would tell you is that. We all know that's about generating revenue, number one. For Roy Jones, I would be very nervous. Even though, obviously in his peak, Roy Jones was a phenomenal, athlete, was at one point held to share the heavyweight championship, fast hands. But the last handful of fights that he had as a pro, he got knocked out, and he got knocked out hard.
Yeah.
Out cold on his back, and
kind of like Chuck Liddell back in, when he came back, and he was getting knocked out.
But you know what? Chuck Liddell can still complete a sentence, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Roy Jones, you can definitely tell he's got some of the slurred speech, and he's taking a lot of shots, and Mike, Mike's nuts. I was
about to say,
and he can hit hard, and he's an animal in there. Look, I like Tyson when he was in his heyday in the late 80s.
I love Tyson.
He's funny to tell too. He did Shark Week. I know that's way off on a different topic, but yeah, Tyson's funny as hell.
So I think that I just hope nobody gets hurt.
It wouldn't be a good look for boxing. Boxing's trying to get back up on its feet. With the UFC, it's like the UFC has been a freight train. It just keeps moving and moving and moving. And,
Well, remember, I'm going to make a prediction. Is there something that's going to take over the UFC? And that's bare knuckle fighting.
And that's big. Nate Shook runs I think he does a lot of promotions for bare knuckle fights right now.
Very popular in Europe and in England and the UK. And they're starting to get some promotions here in the United States. Brutal. Look.
I think Paige Van Zandt might be going over there.
It's just, man. But boxing, unfortunately, I'll always love it. But, when the last great heavyweights left, and that's Tyson, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe.
George Foreman when he came back. After that generation left, I don't think there's been anybody else to really, electrify the sport. Canelo Alvarez a little bit, Floyd Mayweather. Okay, but as far as it used to be the heavyweight champion was like the king. Yeah, that was the big time.
I'm sorry. I don't think Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder can hold a candle to some of those guys. And look, and forgive me for turning this into a boxing show.
It's okay.
I was going to say the last big fight I remember, it's funny. I was in Iraq. I was, in a combat zone, and we watched, I want to say it was it Diaz? And I don't remember who it was. It was the last big fight I can remember.
For Conor McGregor, you mean? Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor?
No, it was like the lightweight championships. It was in 03 or no, it was in 04.
Maybe De La Hoya or
maybe. I can't remember now.
I was going to tell you about like the Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler fight. I remember seeing that as a kid.
Sure, 1987.
That was awesome.
1987. I remember that well.
And I remember watching the first WrestleMania on cable TV too.
First cage match and everything, man.
I missed that.
Getting back to branding, though. There's 5 factors in your book, your ebook, correct? And
yes.
I know you don't probably want to go into all of them,
because, we don't want people to pick up the book. But maybe like touch on one of the 5 factors from the book.
I'll roll through all 5 of them. I mean, like I said, it's all good. I mean, it's real simple. It's the reason why we called it the dream is because DREAM spells out certain things. D is your demo.
Right.
E is your education. I mean, R, I can't even spell today. R is your recording space.
Yeah.
E is your education, A is your availability, and M is your marketing. And those are those 5 pillars that you need. I mean, you think about it, if you don't have one of those 5, you can't spell the dream.
Right.
You got to have
availability is important.
Yeah, because there's so many people that say, hey, I'm a voice artist, but they're day jobbing it. And the client doesn't want to wait until 6 p.m. or over the weekend for you to cut it. They want it in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not prepared to do that, well, then you're not available. I mean, that's a shocker for a lot of folks. Like, oh, wait a minute, I got to be on call all the time?
Yeah.
You want to win in 2020? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Education's another one, because if you stop learning in this game, you're going to fall way behind.
It's a fast moving train, man. And you got to keep your instrument sharp. And whether that's you're training with a good performance coach, or whether you're working with a demo producer, or whether you're learning and boning up on your tech, because that's changing a million miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And there are all sorts of resources available for those things. And then, of course, if you don't have some help, in my humble opinion, with somebody teaching you how to market yourself, you're going to fall by the wayside. That all goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I mean, you can have the shiniest, coolest Ferrari ever purchased, but if that Ferrari is underneath a tarp and in a locked garage and not driving out on the highway, nobody will see it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You got to learn how to drive, man.
And with the car, you could probably sell it down the road and make some money. But in the voiceover industry, though, if you just put yourself under a tarp, you're not going to cause much damage.
Yeah, and it might mess with your mic chain, too.
I was a member of the Chamber of Commerce over where I live. And, there's Business Networking Institute over here. Do you belong to any of those? And are they important to you?
So, I mean, I've done both of those things, the BNI and the Chamber of Commerce and the networking groups and all that. I mean, anymore for me, I don't need to utilize those things.
Right.
But I'll never tell a talent that works with me, or even one that doesn't, not to do those things. It's always good to be networking, meeting people, getting into learning how to refer business to other people, because you'll get it back. But the asterisk I would put on that is don't hang your hat on that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a piece. Marketing is like fabric. You got to have many different threads overlapping, crisscrossing, weaving together in order to have that good tight fabric. And so many people say, well, I'm just going to do the Chamber of Commerce, or I'm just going to run Facebook ads, or I'm just going to be a member of every free Facebook group out there and see what I can do to
that
get
doesn't
my
do
name.
much. Yeah. Or I'm going to be on Fiverr. That's it.
Or whatever. And that's a whole other discussion too, which I might surprise you, my feelings on that platform. But the point is you have to have a multi-tiered attack. And, Jim, you're a military guy. Can you imagine if every war was just fought with the infantry?
Right. Absolutely. They
wouldn't want to win, man.
Have anything.
Yeah, you got to have the planes flying over. You got to have spies behind enemy lines. You got to have the ships firing off the beach.
Not only that, but your supply chain, your logistics, that whole thing needs to be coordinated.
It's the same thing. Marketing is the same thing. Same thing. It's a fight. And if until you understand that it is a fight, it is a war, it's a contact sport. We're talking about boxing. We're talking about MMA.
Yep.
There's a reason why all this stuff makes sense, because it's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same. You got to be able to take punches. You got to be able to give punches. You got to be able to train hard. You got to have endurance. You got to put out a lot of effort. It takes a lot to become a champion. It all makes sense.
Now, you talk about all that, and that's a good segue into what I was going to talk about, because you put over here with branding, common sense, tough love, and career help, right?
Yes, sir.
Tough love. Some people can't take it.
No, not nowadays.
No.
Some people can't take it. Has there been, you don't have to, name names, but has there been any examples of people that have you worked with that just tapped out? And on the
Yes.
flip side, is there people that you worked with that almost tapped out but rose to the top?
So, there's been, thank goodness, lots of examples of the latter, what you just mentioned. That's the reason why I'm still able to do what I'm doing, is because I got happy people out there singing my praises. It keeps me working hard. But, I mentioned this. I had another discussion with somebody, and there was a talent that was vetting me. And he asked me the best question, and I don't mind plugging him. His name's Drew Graham. And before he hired me, he asked me the question. He said, kind of like what you said, did you have any customers that you failed with or that weren't very happy customers? And, my answer to him was, although I have a really, really good batting average, I don't bat 1,000. My styles make fights. That's a boxing, phrase that everybody says, an idiom. Styles make fights. Some people see, the go get it and the fist and the motivation and all the energy, and then they get in the ring with me. And it's not like I'm not screaming at you. I'm not beating anybody up, but I call it like I see it. Mm-hmm. And I take from my experience what has worked and what hasn't. And I shoot straight with you. And my motto is I make suggestions, you make decisions.
Right.
And if you're going to pay me what I charge, you should probably take my suggestions, because there's a value there, and there's a reason why I'm able to garner my fees, is because what I do works. But yeah, some folks are very outward, and they'll say, I'm not going to do that, whatever the suggestion is. Yeah. Other folks will do the old, they won't do the work. I'll give them very specific assignments.
That's amazing too, when you pay for something and you're not doing the work.
Literally, I will lay out 5-6 things and say, do it exactly like this. And then I'll come back, because every couple of weeks we check in with each other. And after 2 weeks, I can tell that none of the work's been done, not just because I have a feeling. It's because there's hard data. I can see things on social, how many people they've connected with, views, posts, all that kind of, and I could see that they didn't do the work. And then I'll say, I had one customer, I said to him straight up, I go, you didn't do the work. Why do you think it's not working? And he basically said, I just didn't want to do it. Well, so I'm like, you know what? I can't help you anymore. And that was it.
If you don't want to do anything, excuses get old too. You hear people who make excuses all the time.
They're like assholes. Everybody's got one,
I know when I shell out money for something, whatever it is, whether it's a computer or a vendor or a service, I'm going to actively and immediately use that item, that person, that service, whatever it is, because I want my money's worth. Right. I want to be able to get I want to squeeze that sponge until it's dry and learn whatever I can, because, you guys work hard for your money. I work hard for my money too. I want value there.
You got to make sacrifices too. I mean, do you watch TV or do you work on what you need to do? Do you play video games all day or do you work on what you need to do? And these are things coming from me, because I had to, get rid of a lot of that stuff that was taking up a lot of my time. And the more I learn in voiceover, the more excited I get. And you start realizing, and it takes a long time. I mean, this is like 4 years in where I've really pushed it hard. Things are starting to make sense. Everything's starting to make sense finally. But it took a lot of sacrifice. And it takes a lot of time.
For a lot of voice talent out there, my marketing coaching is not just, it's maybe 50% X's and O's. And more of it is teaching human beings how to get out of their own way, how to develop routines, how to stop making excuses, how to book time with yourself, put yourself first, be the CEO of you. Most folks honestly have a time management problem. Mm-hmm. And I'm not picking on anyone. That's just, that's a skill you have to learn. Not everybody knows how to do that.
Hey, I'm Corey Rhymes. And when I want to get my crazy VO news, I tune into VO's Padded Room.
Success in the voiceover world, especially because it moves so quickly, is predicated on mastering these other life skills. If you can manage your time and you can work efficiently and you can be patient and you can hustle and put it and be willing to, I call it brick by brick. You can't build a wall like that. You got to put one brick down next to another one, then another one on top. If you can take that brick by brick philosophy and stick with it over a sustained period of time, by default, you will have success. But most people can't stick it out.
Yeah, and there's a parenting moment here. I teach my kids, we've got a 2-story home here, and it's, how do you get to the top floor? You don't just jump up there. You take it step by step. But ultimately, you're going to get to that top floor. And it clicks in their head. It's like, oh, wow, that's how I get to the top, is step by step. And I said, now apply that to anything in life. You want this goal. We'll put that goal upstairs. Now take each step to get there. You're going to get there because you can see it.
And to put a big bow on it and circle this back to what we originally talked about, that step analogy, that 2 stories you talked about. So the ground is the talent that just got the demo made, that just bought the nice mic, that just hired the great coach. And the top floor is being a full-time working voice talent. They think that because they have those things, they can make the leap up to the second floor, and they don't realize they have a couple flights of steps to clear next.
Absolutely.
You got to put the work in, and that's what I'm here. I'm here to be the Mickey.
You can do it.
To have people get off the mat and keep punching, and to keep working hard and keep sweating, and to be the shoulder to cry on, the sounding board, the counselor, the second opinion. I always tell folks, as long as I'm in your corner, you should never have to make a decision about your voiceover business by yourself. You can always call me.
That's always comforting.
That's huge, because most of the times we're in this padded room, if you will.
Exactly.
Unintended, but we have nobody to bounce it off of. And I think
that's how we met, though, when we connected.
Yeah. And me and Brad almost daily, go back and forth to motivate each other. And this is how, this podcast came about. But with that being said, it's the biggest thing I get from you is the structure. I know I need that structure as well. Coming from structure to nothing is really, it's tough. It is tough. So I love the structure about what you do,
Like I said, you break it down into small pieces. You can't eat an elephant in one bite.
Right. And they got, they have apps nowadays where you can track your time. You can break things down to categories. You can visually see what you're putting your time into, and you just refine it and, make sure you're using that time wisely.
Well, that's, to be organized is one thing, but sometimes to be organized, you have to eliminate things out of your day. And, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant said something very profound. And I share this with as many people as I can because A, I believe it, B, I do it, and C, I think everybody else should do it. Is that if you want to be successful at anything in your professional career, whatever it is, you got to edit out all of it, whatever doesn't directly contribute to that end goal, you have to do without it. And that's whether that's watching your favorite television show or eating your favorite food, or maybe going out with friends, or maybe spending less time going down rabbit holes on social media and using it for
TikTok,
business, TikTok, whatever it is, fill in the blank. You have to be willing to release and let those things go. And, if you can do that, you can be good at anything, voiceover, whatever you decide to tackle. You got to edit your life. And that's coming from a guy who was consumed with being a champion of basketball. He was a guy that after they won the NBA finals was in the gym that night shooting.
Yes.
That's the type of, I don't want to say that's the type of effort I demand, but I try to preach that that's what you got to put in. That's what we're doing this for. We're not just trying to chew up booking hours and let you be able to tell, the voiceover public that we work together. That's not the point. The point is for you to not work with me anymore.
Right.
To be able to, put your big boy pants on and go out there and take on the world, having all these tools in your toolbox and just trust that those tools are going to help you.
And then pay it forward and help somebody else.
Damn right, man.
Somebody to lean on. Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, we joke about the TikTok thing because even my daughter will catch me on TikTok. I'm addicted to it.
My wife loves it. My youngest is a fan as well. But I'm sometimes at the mercy of them, where they'll throw the phone in front of my face, and I have to watch a Taylor Swift song for the 28th time or whatever it is.
Well, I like how your philosophy is as far as like your schedule. Family is important. Obviously
Number one,
and exercise.
Number two.
Yeah, I love exercise as well.
Yeah,
And I think that's a good stress reliever. And I think it's a good reset for when you get back into the office and you have to get back and tackle your work.
Totally.
So I like that whole concept. And, getting up early and doing what you need to do and paying your dues and all those things are wonderful. And just not everybody's going to be willing to do that. That's it takes a certain individual.
Can check their egos at the door. And when they sign up to board the Go Get It Express, we're going to impart that wisdom on them so they can do that. Everyone's able to do it. You just got to be willing to give it a shot.
People, with everybody out there posting content, some people have a hard time with seeing others and then comparing themselves to these people out there,
Yep.
And they think that, this person that might be posting a highlight from what they've done, like you said, they don't see the grind. They think, oh man, this guy must have the greatest voiceover life ever. Give us real quick, give some advice before we close out about not comparing yourself to others and, staying the course.
So the first way I'm going to answer your question is I like to tell stories, as you could tell. I'll give you a story.
That's great.
And this totally fits in with what you're talking about. So I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago, one of my bucket list items was I wanted to own a Harley Davidson. Okay. I wanted a Harley Davidson more than anything. And when I learned how to ride a motorcycle, I'm a big guy, macho, all that stuff, but you don't know how to ride a motorcycle. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And one of the things the instructor told me, even though it involved directly of me handling that motorcycle, it's a metaphor for life, which is ride your own ride. To me, when other people compare themselves, well, I want to post like this person. I want to do videos like that. I want to be Gary V or, whoever it is, or, some folks want to post like me. I mean, there's a handful of them out there. They want to, post at the level that I'm doing. Well, it took me quite a few years to figure out how to do that to where I could still, be functional.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to take it slow. You got to take it slow. And it's just having that stamina and that endurance, because the longer you do something, the more proficient you become at it. It's human nature. And that's what we're trying to teach.
Why don't you just plug all your social media accounts and anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, if someone wants to find me, I obviously have a pretty decent online footprint. I have several shows out there. The current ones are, I do Ringside. That's on LinkedIn Live, typically Tuesdays at 3 p.m. I have Go Get It Live on Facebook. I usually do that once or twice a month. That's a longer show, 45 minutes. I have the Go Get It podcast. That's usually an interview style where I've interviewed Randy Thomas and Chuck Duran and Joan Baker. A lot of
toe to toe.
Yeah, go toe to toe with these VO heavyweights, and had some great discussions with them. And then I also have One More Round podcast. The One More Round podcast is basically go get it goodness in 5 minutes or less. We take snippets, little best of clips of a lot of my Facebook Live shows, and we put them together as kind of like a little rock radio segment. I work with a very talented audio producer named Ed Bishop. I don't know if you've ever met Ed or heard of Ed. He's out of Dallas area.
Okay.
He's awesome. He helps me assemble that show. So I have those shows. Obviously, you can find me on the internet at CoreyDissin.com. I'm on the big 4 social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. And 888-Corey84. Got the vanity number too, brother.
Guys can check me out, BradStormVO.com, BradStormVO on Twitter and Instagram, and BradStorm Voiceover on Facebook. What about yourself there, Big Jim?
BigJimMedia.com is currently in the works as well, but that is live. You can check me out there, or BigJimVoiceover.com is another one. Big Jim Media on LinkedIn, Big Jim VO on Facebook. Corey, I want to thank you again for joining us today. Man, it has been amazing. Huge learning experience. And I appreciate it. Again, thank you for being here. We'd love to have you back again.
Man, we appreciate your time, my friend. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And remember to punch every day in the face.